Julian here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to synthesize an 808 from scratch using any synth. I'm going to be using Serum, but you can do this in a plethora of different synths. It really doesn't matter. So let's dive in. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my oscillator A, and I'm just going to switch it to a sine wave. You only need one oscillator for this sound, so yeah, we're just going to do a sine wave. And I'm going to go to envelope 1, which is our volume envelope, and I'm going to turn the sustain down. I'm going to turn the decay up a little bit, and then I'm going to turn the release up a little bit as well. So what this is going to do is it's going to sort of shape our sound. We have a nice low, subby kind of bass note, and then we have this envelope, which is going to make it have that kind of like 808 like sort of impact, if that makes any sense. It's not just like one long sound that just plays out. It like starts up here and then kind of goes down with the volume. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this LFO1 and we're going to put it on the coarse pitch. Now once I do that, I'm going to go into the matrix here. If you're using Serum, this is something you got to do usually. And we're going to switch the type to this one arrow as opposed to the little double arrow thing. And what this is going to do is basically it's just going to tell it that when you have this envelope, this LFO on here, essentially it's just going to go up from the top and then hit the middle point, which is like whatever note you're playing on the keyboard, as opposed to the other mode it was in, like what it's set to by default. It's going to go from the top and then just go all the way down. And you don't want that because you want it to retain the pitch that you're playing. Anyway, once we do that, we're going to go into this LFO and I'm going to switch it to an envelope. So basically it's just going to play through one time and then stop, as opposed to on trigger mode, it keeps restarting. And if you turn the mode off, it just keeps restarting as well. So we're going to do that. We're going to put it on envelope mode. I'm going to turn off the BPM syncing. And we're just going to draw a little point there. And just start shaping this a little bit. So in any other synth, I'm not sure exactly what synth you're using, but you probably have a very similar thing to this where you can put like an LFO or an envelope on the pitch. And this is just kind of what you want to do, is just shape it to be like a quick little hit like this. So now what we're doing is we're trying to give the 808 some impact. When I play it up high, you can really hear it. But essentially, an 808 is a kick. So we needed to have some kind of like hit at the very start of the sound to have that like kick kind of impact. And I'm not super like, stuck on this setting right now. Typically, once you put on distortion, which we're going to do next, this kind of gets highlighted a lot more, and you can either turn it down or even like sometimes you want to do it even more. We'll just see once I start putting distortion on. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start distorting it. And what this is going to do is, you can hear, it's just going to help to give it like that real hard-hitting 808 sound. Just the sine wave on its own doesn't quite cut it, but once you start distorting it and adding some higher harmonics, that's where you really get that 808 sound. And you'll hear too, if I turn this drive up all the way, that pitch envelope really gets highlighted. I mean, obviously, I'm probably not going to have this be that distorted, but you can definitely hear, like around there is pretty solid. And again, I'm just going to keep fiddling with this. Okay, so that sounds pretty good. So now, this is our 808. So from here, you can really do a ton of different things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can be done. This is really the meat of the sound. Like, this is really what you would essentially like layer with a kick or put into your beats or whatever. And you'd have this cool 808 that is kind of like live, so to speak. It's not just a sample. So like when you play it up high, it still plays the full note. It's not like shorter, like if you were working with a sample, where obviously the higher you pitch it up, the shorter the sample is going to be, and all that kind of stuff. And also you can play some lower notes this way too. Like, a problem I have when I use 808 samples sometimes is that when you play them in the lower ranges, you get a lot of artifacts, and it just kind of like slows down too much. But with this, I mean, you can play some of those lower range notes and still really hear what's going on. It's not going to be as solid as the higher notes, but I mean, it definitely works. So again, from here, you can do a whole lot of stuff. Maybe I'll add like some EQ, boost some low end. That sounds pretty solid. We could even also go in here and you could switch this to maybe like a square wave and then put a filter on it, so you get a little bit of a different kind of harmonic profile here. I mean, there are a lot of things that can be done, but this is really sort of like the meat of the sound. This is the main basics that you need to know to make an 808 on your own with a synth. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Make sure to let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Make sure to like this video and subscribe, and get the preset from this video as well because it's free. And yeah, I will see you guys again tomorrow with another tutorial.